Your boy Papa Shro back to break down game number 2 of Wild Card Weekend. Super Wild Card Weekend. I always got to remind myself about that one. Pittsburgh heading into Baltimore to face the AFC North champions, the Ravens, Steelers. Part 3, this is the rubber match as game 1 the Steelers took, game 2 the Ravens took. The Ravens are rolling in a lot hotter than the Steelers, obviously. 4-game win streak for the Ravens, 4-game losing streak for the Steelers. So we're going to get into all of that, break down the game, and get into my predictions. And similar to the last video, if you watch the Chargers and Texans breakdown, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to kind of go over the injury report, betting lines, and I'm going to get to my predictions. So let's jump straight into the injury report is where I'm going to start with this one. And then we'll kind of get into my takes for the game. We will start with the Pittsburgh Steelers as offensive guard Mason McCormick, questionable with a hand injury. Offensive tackle Calvin Anderson, questionable with a groin injury. Roman Wilson, hamstring. He is out. Cole Holcomb, linebacker, is out with a knee injury. And Logan Lee out with a calf injury. On the Ravens side, not as many, but I think maybe more impactful. Deontay Hardy, knee injury, he's questionable. And Zay Flowers has been ruled out with a knee injury. That's going to be big. Although he only had 3 targets in combined between the wins against Tampa Bay and Buffalo. So I do think the Ravens offense can maneuver without Zay Flowers and can win this game without Zay Flowers. But it's going to be an extra challenge. It does help when you have the quarterback that had the best season out of any quarterback in the NFL in 2024 in Lamar Jackson, who should repeat as MVP more than likely, and was, AP number 1 all-pro list. So that is huge for the Ravens, obviously. And when you get to this point in the season, it's about quarterbacks. It's about defenses, but it's about quarterbacks big time. I think we've seen that within the last, 10 years, maybe 20 years or so. It is about quarterbacks in the postseason. So it's going to be, I think, paramount that Pittsburgh contains Lamar Jackson, is able to hold him to somewhat of a normal game, average game when it comes down to it. So, as I mentioned, you got the tale of 2 stories, really, as Pittsburgh looked like they were going to win this division. They lose 4 straight. Baltimore wins 4 straight. Baltimore takes the division. So, it's a home game for Baltimore instead of Pittsburgh. Whereas the Steelers have really been struggling, especially this offense. When you look at Russ, he's under 220 yards in the last 5 games. The Pittsburgh offense has been under 18 points in the last 4 games that they've played, although the defense has played decent. They did hold Burrow and the Bengals to 19 last week, of course. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 89.9 rate for Joe Burrow throwing the football. They had 4 sacks of Joe Burrow last week. So that's big for the Pittsburgh defense. Week 11 was the win over Baltimore, 18-16. A little bit different margin in week 16, where Baltimore won 34-17. That is part of the streak that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had, this losing streak that they've had. Meanwhile, for Baltimore, they are as hot as can be. The defense has held teams under 20 points for 4 straight games. Mind you, in these last 4 games, they've been under 14 points or less that they've held offenses, as well as, the offense, 30-plus points per game in the last 4 straight games. The Ravens are looking good. Derrick Henry is going to be a huge factor in this game. The Ravens are 10-0 when Derrick Henry is 90 yards plus. So when Derrick Henry is above 90 yards, the Ravens are perfect so far this season. 10-0. And then when you look at last week, how they allowed 0 sacks against Cleveland is huge. That pass rush, obviously Cleveland didn't have much to play for, but you still have Myles Garrett. You still have a very formidable defense and good, they usually get good pressure. But no sacks. Obviously there were some pressures and some hits on Lamar Jackson. But this game is huge. Can you contain Derrick Henry? Can you contain Lamar Jackson? Because just if Derrick Henry's not running, Lamar Jackson sure can. And go back to week 1, obviously, me being a Chiefs fan and watching Chiefs film week by week, one thing that we saw huge that I think the Ravens could do against anybody is Justice Hill getting available out in the flat. And Justice Hill being able to really make an impact on the game, whether it's any of these games going on down through the playoffs. And this is the game. It's a one and done now at this point. So let's get into the betting lines, and then I will give my prediction and score for the game. Ravens and Steelers spread right now. Baltimore is -10, which is interesting. I do think that this game's going to be closer than that. I think that the Steelers cover there with that one. I just don't think that two divisional rivals going against each other in the playoffs, that we are going to get a blowout or anything like that. I think it's going to be, closer to the Week 11 game than it was to the Week 16 game, as well as then you look at the 43.5 points. Now, I was definitely under on the last one, if you watched the last video, on the Chargers and Texans. This game, however, I do think it goes over. I do think that they go over in this game. It could be more of a defensive struggle, but I just think the offenses will find enough to get there, to get past that line of 43.5 at this point, just based off of feelings, I guess. We're going off of vibes here, which, don't listen to me too much. Don't let your own, you decide your own fate when you're putting money on a game. Baltimore, right now they are 10-6-1 against the spread this season, while the Steelers are 11-6 against the spread. So I guess let's get into my pick for this game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that when you get division rivals, and this is one thing that I'll talk more about on the next podcast when I release it. But one thing that I have to say that is just hilarious of, Bengals Nation, whatever the hell they call themselves, of saying that the Chiefs were scared of the Bengals. I think a divisional opponent is way scarier than anyone outside the division. Not to mention a non-divisional opponent that you already beat. It's not as scary as a divisional opponent. Pittsburgh versus Baltimore, that is as tough as you can get, I think. A divisional opponent in the wild card week that you played recently. So it's not like these two teams are not very familiar with each other and recently familiar with each other. Week 16 was just a few weeks ago. So I really think that this is a dangerous matchup for both sides. But obviously Pittsburgh is going to have the chip on their shoulder. They've lost the last 4. They're going to come in and really try to prove something. You're also facing the best quarterback in the league as of right now, play-wise. Again, another conversation for another day. Let me not ramble in this video. Trying to make this just a straight prediction video, basically, and kind of get you guys caught up to speed for tonight's AFC wildcard game. I am taking the Ravens in this game. I think they win 27-24. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a last-second field goal because I don't know if I trust Justin Tucker at this point. But I do think that they win this game. It's going to be close late. Maybe they hold off Pittsburgh in the end. Maybe they're down, 24-20, get a touchdown late in the game. Defense seals it up. But I do like Baltimore in this game. I'm taking them. I think when it matters, I don't believe in Russ as much as I believe in Lamar Jackson in 2025 now. Happy New Year. But I just don't believe in him, and you can say what you will about the playoffs and Lamar Jackson and his struggles in the postseason. I just don't think that happens tonight in this game. And maybe he struggles to a point, but not enough that it's going to be a detriment to the team. I think Derrick Henry is exactly what the Ravens needed, and honestly better than what I thought he was going to be this season. So shout out to this entire Baltimore Ravens offense and what Todd Monken has done with the Baltimore Ravens offense. I think, again, they get it done, 27-24. Let me know in the comments below your opinions and your score, who you got winning this game, Pittsburgh or Baltimore, two very passionate fan bases. So I'm very excited to see, just the interaction on Twitter, on YouTube, just in general, all of that. So make sure you hit those comments below. Smash that subscribe button if you're still here for me. Still trying to grow and create a community here on YouTube. We're almost at 300 subscribers. It's been a very fun last year or so on YouTube, just talking football. So I really enjoy it. Go check out that other channel. I got a gaming channel as well, Papa Shro Gaming. Check that out if you're into, whatever. I got some Call of Duty. I've got some college football right now. Plan on bringing some Madden to it, and maybe some other games coming up a little bit different. Shout out to Ray on that one. But until the next playoff video, we're going to get into reviewing all of these playoff games. Probably come out with a podcast at some point next week. It's been the holidays, so I've kind of been a little bit stagnant on the channel, I know. But we are getting back to the content and getting some good stuff out for you guys and talking football, more film breakdowns, podcast, again, the gaming channel. So hit that like button too if you are still here in the video and listening to me ramble at this point. I really do appreciate it. It really helps the channel out a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But until the next playoff video, we'll see you in the next one.